Holy shit, I'm hearing voices. And I was looking in the mirror behind you, and you were talking to me, and I happened to look up in the mirror, and I saw my entire face transform into a horse. Do you remember that? When I was...
We're starting off the bat with our famous shroom trip that we had about, I want to say 8 months ago.
God, feels like forever.
It literally feels like forever.
Also yesterday at the same time.
Definitely.
I will definitely never forget that trip.
Me neither. It was my most crazy trip.
Definitely.
Because so many things were happening. It was just so poorly planned.
So...
which was my fault, by the way.
I think it ended up for the better, though. I mean, we would not have gone through as much as we did if, it hadn't turned out that way.
We started shrooming at where I lived at the time. I was living in downtown Sac. I was living at my brother's, who, by the way, was 42 years old, my half-brother, who I've only met like 3 times in my entire life. And my relatives just thought that was like a good thing to do. Like, yeah, that's not weird at all. Anyways, despite the age difference, it was all right, but, not the best place to have a shroom trip since I didn't really know him that well.
Right, but you didn't think he was going to be home, though.
That's true. I totally was under the impression he was going to be gone because he told me that. And then he was there, and I was like, oh, fuck, this is about to be interesting. Because whenever around people I don't really want to be around when I'm on shrooms, I get just weird.
It can totally change your trip.
It totally throws off the vibes.
Totally, yeah.
We bought a scale, this like little cute scale.
Yeah.
And we weighed them out, and we had like 4 grams each.
Yeah, 4 grams each.
Which is a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a fucking lot.
I didn't realize it was that much until I was talking to somebody else who does shrooms regularly. Yeah. And they said that that's a lot. We set the timer.
We set a timer.
And it was like 45 minutes, right?
Honestly.
But it started kicking in like
25 minutes.
Yeah, first 15, 20 minutes.
And that's the crazy thing, because every other time I've taken shrooms, they've taken like 2 to 3 hours to kick in. This time, I started tripping at 25 minutes after I ate these shrooms. And that's when I knew I was fucked. and that this was going to be an interesting ride.
You know how the come up is like always really intense?
Yes.
I remember just looking at you and being like, are you tripping? Because I think it started. It's getting a little intense here.
I felt like that whole day we were constantly on the same page.
Yeah, definitely.
Our minds were linked.
Exactly, yeah.
And
same level.
We just knew what was going on. That's always fun to have that nice communication.
Right.
Because then if I'm thinking something, I just look at you and make a certain face, and like, oh, we got to get out of here. We got to do whatever.
Yeah.
We're coming up on these shrooms in my room, and we're kind of like pacing back and forth, like, oh, what do we do? Do we go outside? Little anxiety starting to kick in.
Right.
We ended up going outside in the backyard and painting. And we drew some very interesting paintings while we were coming up on these shrooms.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
So I brought mine here today, and I think that everyone deserves to see this.
Beautiful.
And here we are. It is an eyeball with a sun and what looks like a little Horton Hears a Who tree.
Very pretty.
When you look at this, what did you think I was feeling?
I felt that we were on the same wavelength for a minute because, we were for most of the trip. But especially when we were painting, because I was looking over, we were doing completely different things. But we both had the same energy putting into it, And we were both using bright colors.
Yes.
And just kind of, like, going with it, We didn't really stop to think about what we wanted. We were just putting it right there on the page,
Exactly.
As an artist, I normally, sit there and I have to think for 30 minutes to an hour before I start a project. Because, I got to think about and really picture what I want to make. But on shrooms, I was just slapping it on.
Yeah, you just go, go, go.
Yeah.
That's kind of what shrooms is. Your thoughts are going a million miles a minute.
Oh, yeah.
And you just have all these thoughts, and it's kind of hard to focus on one sometimes.
Right.
But we definitely did paint two different things.
Yeah. But they gave off the same energy.
They did. And something that I just noticed, so I use like browns, yellows, kind of tan color scheme, and you use green, purple, and blue.
Right.
And when we were peaking on shrooms, I remember looking at you and saying to you, Liv, you're giving off this aura of purple and blue. And you were telling me that I was giving off a brown, tan,
like
yellow.
earthy tones.
Yes.
Yeah, like you were like rooted in the earth.
And I just noticed those are the tones that we both painted with.
That's crazy.
We both like knew our auras.
That's insane.
That's insane.
You know, I knew that the trip was going to be fun when we started walking around the backyard, and I was in socks. And I mean, the grass was so tall, and I was just touching everything, and I felt like I was in like one of those giant fields that you see in movies and everything. And we were just in the backyard, and I was looking up at the sky, and I was just like, oh, this is amazing. And I walked out. My pants and my socks were covered in like bristles, and I had been stepping on things, didn't even notice it. I had all those pointy sticks and everything in my feet, did not even care at all.
We literally went on an adventure. We both were not wearing shoes. We were wearing our socks. And mind you, this backyard is huge. Like, it's pretty big. And this grass was as tall as we are.
Yeah.
And we were just walking through this grass, just getting shit all over us. We did not care. We were touching everything. We were just like, I want to touch the grass. I want to touch that tree.
Right.
And just letting our imaginations take control.
Right.
And then after that, we wanted to walk more.
Well, no, so,
right?
Yeah. Well, okay. So what I remember is, like, we were sitting there painting, right? And then I was still coming up pretty hard. And I was getting kind of intense. And I was nervous that your brother was there because I'd never talked to him before.
Yeah.
I'd never met this man. And I was like, I'd only heard things about him from you, you know? So that was kind of making me nervous a little bit. Not that he was going to do anything or bother us. But I remember seeing him, like, walk around. And I was like, whoa, wait. Hold on, this isn't right. You know, I was like, he doesn't know me. I'm tripping my balls off.
Yeah.
And I just had no idea what to do. So I started freaking out, and I was like, I feel like we should get out of here. And you're like, okay, let's go for a walk.
What a great idea.
What a great idea. It's what is it? It was a Saturday, wasn't it? It was a beautiful Saturday afternoon in downtown Sacramento. And we decided, all right, let's go for a walk. So we get out of the house. We're walking down the street, right? And I'm calming down, because I was really freaking out for a minute. I was about to have a bad trip. I was, you know, and you were there for me. I mean, like you were talking about earlier with the facial expressions, you looked at me and immediately were like, it's okay. I'm here. I'm right on your level. We're both tripping really hard. Just take a deep breath, you know?
Yes.
And you kept me centered the whole time. So we keep walking, right? And we get to the park. And I look up, and we're standing there at the edge of the park. And it's a Saturday afternoon. So it seems like everyone in Sacramento was at this park. I mean, to tell you the amount of pressure I felt on my chest, do you remember I was like, I need to sit down. Yes. I sat down on the grass right there. And there were people with their windows open in the car right next to us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they were laughing at us because we were like, whoa.
Yes, I could feel them like laughing and pointing.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I think we need to get out of here. Neither of us can drive, clearly.
Yeah.
So did not know what we were going to do there. So I called Lavelle, and I was like, hey, he's my best friend at the time, other than you, of course. And he's my best male friend. And I call him, and I was like, listen, I don't care if you're busy. I'm pulling the best friend card. I need you to come pick me up no matter what you're doing right now and take me home. And he was like, okay, are you safe? And I was like, yeah, I'm just tripping my ass off, and we're not okay. I need to go home right now. And he was like, I'm in the middle of moving my girlfriend in. Like, we can't leave. I'm sweating right now. And I was like, I don't care. I'm laying down the card, man. You got to come pick me up.
Yeah.
You know I would do this for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling it. And he was like, okay, I'll be there in 15. So we go back to your house. Put we had like 7 bags.
We had so much shit.
We had so many things because I brought everything I could possibly think of that I would want on a shroom trip. Didn't use any of it, of course. Didn't even touch my bags. So I just grabbed them, you know, and I have like 4 or 5 bags. We look like we're fucking backpackers walking through downtown Sacramento. And I sent him my location when I was at the park. So he was going to pick us up at the park. So we had to walk back to the park to find him. And he was like, okay, I'm here. But he wasn't in his car. So I was scared, not knowing where he was. And he was like, Liv, look to your left. I look over, and there he is and his girlfriend in the car with all the windows down. And they were like, come on. And his girlfriend was laughing at us because of all of our bags. She was like, what are you guys doing? Just walking down the street with what looks to be your entire wardrobe. And we get in the car. That car trip.
Oh my God, Liv. That was the most chaotic car trip ever.
Oh my God. I mean, that would be insane, like completely sober.
Yes.
Not to mention on shrooms.
Oh, exactly.
No.
Exactly my thoughts.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, make a regular conversation and be like a normal, regular me, which is completely impossible when I'm tripping on 4 grams of shrooms.
Yes.
Right. And Lavelle's being his normal self, and his girlfriend starts driving. All the windows are down. And when I say this woman drives like a bat out of hell, that car was like, oh my God, she was not slowing down for turns. Nothing. And they both knew that we were tripping really hard too.
Yeah.
We get on the interstate, windows still down, and this woman will not leave more than 3 feet between her and the car in front of her. Yeah. And we're going 65, 70, maybe 80 miles an hour, because she's in a hurry to get back to moving in.
Yeah.
Because she's taking time out of her day to come pick up these 2 freaking, I don't know. And oh my God, that I just remember trying to talk, and the wind in the car. I mean, all the windows were down from the interstate. Yeah. She was driving like a maniac.
Freaking maniac.
And we finally pull up to Academy 65.
Finally, of what seemed like forever.
My God. It took forever. And it was maybe a 10-minute car ride, if that.
If that, yeah.
Probably not even.
It felt like an eternity.
Yeah. It probably wasn't even that, because you lived like 8 minutes away from me. So it was probably 5 by the way she was driving.
That's so true.
But it took forever in my head. We get out, get all of our things, And I remember vividly being like, Lavelle, look at this painting I showed you. I mean, I painted. He goes, yeah, Liv, you showed me that 3 times in like the last 5 minutes.
That's so funny.
He's like, it's really cool. I'll talk to you later. Get out.
I didn't know that. That's so funny.
Yeah. He was like, okay, get out. Like, we have to go. So we get out, right? And it's starting to feel a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
Walk in to my building. And I know you remember this, because this moment will forever stick in my brain. Walking into that building in the lobby that me and you have been in over 1,000 times.
Literally. We've
been in that lobby so many times, but I think the day before they switched around like one piece of furniture.
Yeah.
And we walked in, and when I say it was walking into another universe, it was like a parallel universe. It was all familiar and completely different at the same time.
It was literally like we were in a parallel universe.
Exactly. And we were noticing like things in the lobby that we had never seen before.
Yeah.
Like those little guys climbing on the wall,
Yeah.
Yeah. And the color of things, and it just looked completely different.
Everything was different.
Yeah. I don't remember the elevator ride at all.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a pivotal moment.
Right.
That would be like, whoa, we're in an elevator.
Right.
But I have no recollection of that.
I think we were so much had happened in so little time. I mean, we were only like an hour or 2 into our trip.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
So much happened in such little time.
Yeah.
It was so overwhelming.
So overwhelming. Do you remember what happened as soon as we got into my door? I mean, I was so anxious. I ran to the door. I'm like fidgeting with the keys to get it unlocked. I'm like, I just need to get home.
Yeah.
I know as soon as I get in here, everything is going to be okay. The trip's going to go right back up, because I was spiraling. Especially after that car trip, I was terrified.
Me too. I was going down a bad trip.
Same.
Path.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely started out as not a great trip.
Yeah.
Well, okay, wait. It started out good, then kind of went downhill. It was a roller coaster, for sure. So
I know exactly what you're going to say.
So we get inside, and we walk in, and my apartment looks like 15 times bigger. I mean, it looked like a warehouse. It's not a big apartment, but it looked like a freaking warehouse. And I immediately run, and we both collapsed on the carpet, and we could not stop laughing. I mean, it was impossible to stop. We would stop for a second, catch our breath, look at each other, and just go right back into it. I looked at the time after. We laughed for a solid, 45 minutes.
Oh, my God.
No kidding. And we were rolling around laughing. I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
My whole face and neck was so wet from crying.
Yeah. I mean, we were, crying and yelling and laughing and just rolling around on this carpet. And my roommate had just gotten this cat. We did not own a vacuum. And so when we looked up, we had brought up all of this dust and cat hair, and it was just floating in the air, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, God. And both of us immediately got, stuffed up. You know, we're not allergic to cats, but we got stuffed up, and we were, sneezing and coughing for a minute, and that's what stopped the laughing, was getting all stopped up, and our nose started running, and we were like, oh, that's nasty.
Yes.
That's nasty. And
my stomach felt so good when we were laughing.
Yeah.
Getting all that laugh and tears out from that shroom trip was felt so relieving.
Yeah. I've never laughed that hard in my entire life. And you know me, I love to laugh. I laugh at almost anything. You don't have to be funny to make me laugh.
Same.
Right. So, I laugh a lot. But when I say that was the most genuine, hearty, from your stomach laugh, and it lasted forever too. I mean, I just could not stop. Because we were processing everything that had just happened to us. Yes. And we could not believe all of the things we had just been through in the last hour and a half.
Back when we were at my brother's house, you remember Chowder, right?
Yes.
I miss Chowder so much. So Chowder is the fattest corgi, biggest, fattest cardigan corgi that you've ever seen. Cutest little guy ever. And right before we left, I was talking to my brother, and you know how nervous I was to talk to him since I was just tripping balls.
Right.
So I go up to him, and I'm like, hey, we're going to go to Liv's apartment. I am talking to this man, and I feel like he is a black hole of negative energy. Wow. And I felt this before when I've done a shroom trip with this girl who was super negative. It literally felt like he was sucking me into a black hole, right? And then I was looking at Chowder, the little dog, his dog, and I was watching Chowder age from a puppy to a grown dog. Wow. Like an old-ass dog with gray hairs, and I was just watching this on shrooms, and I'm just like, oh, my God. And I shit you not, right in that moment, I knew that I wasn't going to see Chowder grow old. Wow. And a month later, I ended up moving out of my brother's house because he's a piece of shit. Yeah. But, yeah, it's crazy. Shrooms was like, oh, I'm never going to watch Chowder grow up. And I don't know why I thought that was so funny, but watching Chowder age from a puppy to an old dog was so funny to me. Also sad, but it's just, so insane that all happened.
Yeah. I remember, after we finished laughing and, I got all cleaned up, because I was covered in hair, I had to change clothes. Took me forever to change clothes, because I could not decide what to wear. Everything looked different.
Yeah.
And it did not look right, and it's hard to look in the mirror. A lot of people say don't look in the mirror when you're tripping, but I love looking in the mirror because I have it already set in my brain. This isn't who I am. Yeah. This isn't permanent. What I'm looking at isn't real. It's just fun. Yeah. And I just get to see maybe what my face could look like. So you were sitting at the bar, right? And I was standing in the kitchen, and behind you was a mirror. And I was looking in the mirror behind you, and you were talking to me, and I happened to look up in the mirror, and I angled my face slightly, this way. And I saw my entire face transform into a horse. Do you remember that? When I was I had to stop the conversation. I said, wait, what? Hold on. And I turned back, and it was gone. But every time I did this, it was a horse, a full, like BoJack Horseman.
Oh my God. I totally remember you saying that word for word. I just look in the mirror and I look like a horse.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? The image of you with the blue and purple colors coming off you, and you looked like a goddess. Oh. like a mermaid goddess. That's exactly what I was picturing you as the whole time we were on shrooms. was like, live as a mermaid goddess. Like, okay, all right, cool.
You know, it's so funny. I saw you as like my center. Like every bad thought that I had, I would look at you and it immediately disappeared. You know, and I was like, okay, she's my center. Like you know how I was telling you about like the earthy tones?
Yes.
That's what I felt like, you were grounding me, you know, in the
Yeah.
best way.
I love
And
that.
I felt like I could just like come back down to earth for a minute, even though I'm tripping my ass off. And I'm just, you know, freaking out. My head is going a million miles an hour. Every time I looked at you, I felt like your brainwaves were just telling me, like, take a deep breath, slow it down. Like, you're okay. I'm right there with you. You know, like you just had that grounding energy just like coming off of you in waves. And I would not have been able to make it through that trip without you.
Oh, I would be dead.
Definitely.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like, not only are you grounding, but you were so encouraging and supportive that whole time. And the fact that we were constantly on the same page was just so awesome.
Right.
Because, I mean, I don't have that connection with a lot of people. I've done
Me neither.
shrooms with a lot of different people, and I've never really felt like I was on the same exact page with someone to that level, to that extent. And to have that was just so calming and so like, okay, I will be okay because
Right.
I have a friend with me.
Right. We've got
like,
each other.
Exactly. It's so much better than doing shrooms alone.
Right.
I've never done shrooms alone. That's scary.
I've done acid alone. The first time I ever did it. Can I tell you
What?
about that?
Yes, I would love to hear about
Okay.
that.